So what we're going to do is practice sketching a graph using what we know about polynomial functions. And so we've kind of got 3 steps over here that we're going to follow. So first things first, we're going to apply the leading coefficient test. So if my leading coefficient is 3x to the 4th, we know that it is positive and even, and it's going to take the shape of basically an extra squiggly parabola. So my end behavior is going to be up, up. So we'll write that out all nice and fancy. So as x approaches negative infinity, we know that f of x is going to approach positive infinity. As x approaches positive infinity, f of x also approaches positive infinity. Next thing we're going to do is find zeros and multiplicity. And so right now, what we're going to do is factor. And so we want to take this function and we want to factor it any way we know how. It only has 2 terms, so we can't factor by grouping. We can't factor it like we would a trinomial. But we always want to take out a GCF first. It's your golden rule of factoring. So we can take out an x cubed, and that leaves 3x minus 4. So we're factoring. Once we've got it factored, we're going to set both of those factors equal to 0. So we'll have x cubed equal to 0 and 3x minus 4 equal to 0. Anything with an x gets set equal to 0. If my GCF was a number, we wouldn't. So if I take the cube root of both sides, we find that one x is 0, and the other x is 4/3. So over here it says find zeros and multiplicity. That multiplicity tells me if my function is going to cross the x-axis or if it's just going to touch and bounce away. And so this x cubed equals 0. That 3 tells me it has an odd multiplicity, which means that it crosses the x-axis. 4/3 over here, 3x minus 4 raised to the first power, also has an odd multiplicity, which means that it crosses. And so if we graph our function, we want to graph our x-intercepts first. We've got 0, 0, and 4/3. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/3 is about 1 1/3. And we know that they both cross, and we know that my end behavior is up, up. So if it's up, up, we're going to fill in the rest of the graph. And so we know it crosses and crosses. So it should look something like that-ish, give or take. And so all I want is a sketch, a rough sketch. So since it's to the 4th, we know there's an extra little hump down there. You can always find additional points. You can find your y-intercept. You can find a couple of other points on your x-axis or just floating in your quadrants. Those are fine too. But you always want to check with Desmos to make sure that you are on the right track.